common denominator on this panel is that each one of you gentlemen seem to be very firmly strong in your belief system about how to train and your methods. That belief, as you said, is something that you can stand in front of your athletes and also make them believe, make them perform. So my question to you is, where do you get your belief? How do you know what you know is true? And so you can be in front of anyone and say, this is what I do, and this is who I am. Where does that come from?
I think for me, I lean on 30 years of being in the trenches, of it's sexy to train Christian. It's sexy to work with, Mary Beth Sant and like some of these really elite athletes. But when you're coaching JV track and, taking a kid from 17 seconds down to 14 and a half seconds in the 100 meters, like that's where the real, you're formulating your ideas, you're seeing what is working and what isn't working. And, over time, you formulate what your system or what you believe in. I mean, I get reached out to all the time, like, man, I want to do what you do. I want to work with pro athletes. What should I do? And the answer is lock in for the next 3 decades.
I love it.
It doesn't happen overnight. I'm not going to read a book. I'm not going to watch, Alex's landmine stuff and David's movement, Tony's stuff, and then go, I'm ready to train a pro athlete right now. There's so much that goes into it of, and what you see on Instagram, what you see on, social media is bullshit. Not everything that you see there is reality on the day-to-day with the thousands of athletes that you work with. So I think there's a huge component to just learning along the way, keeping the good, throwing away the bad, consulting, spending a ton of time listening to other people smarter than you are, and and then you'll formulate. And so if you're asking me, that's where I got my beliefs, is 3 decades of just paying attention.
I was going to say that I'll get sciencey on you here, but I'm a folksy science guy. I used to tell my chemistry kids that science is basically you have a hunch, and then you try it out, experimentation, and then you write shit down. And what I wrote down were times and vertical jumps and horizontal jumps. I started to record, rank, and publish in 1999 when I started feeding the cats. I really got that from BFS. That took really good records.
Bigger, faster, stronger.
Bigger, faster, stronger. They hate me now.
But bigger, faster, stronger hates you now?
Yeah. Kim Goss is a guy, I guess. But
Sorry.
But anyway, it's. Yeah.
Does anybody in the audience remember BFS?
Oh, of course.
Yeah. I mean,
1980s.
It was pretty solid. When you think back, it was.
Lifting 3 days a week, sprint and jump 2 days a week, and keep records on everything. And you change, like one time you do like 5 reps, 3 sets. Another time,
it was.
But you wrote it down, you measured it and wrote it down. And I did that back in the 90s, and that really had a huge impact on my Feed the Cat stuff. So basically, that's all my data. That's my data. So I knew that I was on the right track. I knew things were going well. But the thing that really gives me confidence is affirmation. I have a coaching tree of coaches out there that feed the cats. And now I have a coaching tree of football coaches out there that are sprint-based football. And they're winning. And when I was sent this article of Christian McCaffrey, like 5 years ago, by like 28 people, saying, hey, this guy that's training McCaffrey, he's feeding the cats. And so I found out the guy's name, Brian Kula, and I called him. I said, this is Tony Holler. And he said, who? I said,
Tony Holler.
Tony Holler. And I said, I'm the Feed the Cats guy. And he goes, I've never heard of you. And it was so beautiful. That's the start of a beautiful relationship, right? And so what was so beautiful about that is that we both evolved into the same ideas, like in evolution, like animals, they're like totally different. If they're in a place where they need to evolve into a certain type of predator or something, we both evolved into the same thing. We called it different things, but I think the affirmation that there's people out there like Brian that's getting great results from a less is more, record, rank, and publish, sprint based, do less. That's what really makes me feel confident now.
Athletic inadequacy is my secret power or superpower because I'm athletic enough to know when something is worth investing more time and effort into it, and when to cut bait, it's not going to yield fruit. And so I have I'm Division 3 because there's no Division 4. That's who I am. The only medal I could win was, I'm the third leg on the relay. Don't lose it for us, right?
I'm going to touch on what David is, where I'm from, and Brian knows where I'm from, right?
Yep.
Little podunk town, right? Raton, New Mexico is, and mine is the 30, 40 years leading up to where you are right now. That makes you guys look like you're superstars, right? Oh, you look great, right? Right now, you guys look great, right? You guys, I mean, it's blowing up. Your Instagram's blowing up. That's blowing up. But what people don't see, and the young kids that don't see, and the people are, and I was talking to Firepod today, right? Is, I mean, the things we've done prior to where we are right now, I mean, mistake. Every time I go and talk, I always say nobody has made more mistakes than I have, right? Using, right, whatever. But the thing is, the beauty of it is, okay, I made that mistake. I'm going to do this, right? And I'm going to do this, and I'm going to do this. My staff teases me now because I always tell them you guys are athletes that coming out. I'm like, oh, you guys happen to catch me in a transitional phase of my life, right? I'm not the old, the stand there and, just hard, just punch them hard in the face, right? And go, right? Now I'm like, no, we need to do a little bit more like this way. Let's do it this way. No, not so hard. Dylan, take it easy on the kids. No, they don't need to do that, right? It'll be easy, right? So it's mistakes that have led to the evolution of Feed the Cats, evolution of Kula performance, evolution of Weck method, evolution of whatever it may be, is what everybody sees now is, how cool is Kula in his new facility.
Hey.
How cool is Tony Holler? He's getting, to do all these cool events and blah, blah, blah. And David Weck has done this and done that, right? But what nobody ever sees is all the things we fucked up along the way.
Hey, let's be thankful that social media wasn't around when I first started coaching.
I tell my staff, I'm like, I remember, coming out of college and moving up to Alaska and doing my first session. I think to myself, it was just fucking terrible. It was terrible. I would have paid me. I always say to people, I would have paid me $5 an hour to do that.
Hey, I'm telling you, I'll tell you a true story. I competed in the decathlon in college. And I was competing against Dan O'Brien at a meet.
Oh, really?
Mount Sac Relays out in California. And I was obsessed with him because he was a world record holder at the time. That's what I wanted to aspire to be. And I watched him. I'd go to meets, I'd watch him. And, he was put together. He was a unit, right? Guy was just unbelievable. And, I kind of noticed it seemed like, right, he had like his, he had the great glutes and like it always seemed like his hips were kind of tilted forward, kind of chest out. So my first year of coaching as a head track coach, I'm 23 years old, just fresh off, my college career, and I'm out in front of the kids teaching them to tilt their hips forward, right? And everybody in the room right now knows that that's wrong, right? I mean, raise your hand if you don't know that's wrong. Okay, so again, to your point of mistakes, like, God, if that was anywhere documented now, like, I'd be worthless today, right? So you make those mistakes as a young coach, and then you grow out of them, and that's how you hone your skills to get to,
And that's the key. I think if you're not embarrassed and cringy about a lot of things in your past, that means you haven't grown.
That's right.
And so that's why we grow.
Sure.